Right.
of your obligations for the entire county, school district, county, township, city, ambulance, fire. What's your personal share? That's all a tax statement is.
Right.
Okay? And if you're well-to-do or you have this magnificent property, your share is bigger than this one over here. But it's your share. So what it comes down to at the end of the day is what's the bill? And then we have to determine what your share is, what my share is. And that's based on the value of your property. That's all this is. But the state decided that they were going to artificially decide what the bill is. Okay? So now this share is still based on that.
Right.
But they've decided that they're going to take your base and they're going to put a cap on it. Now you can't go above that. Doesn't matter what your costs are, but you can't go above this. Now we're still in a good situation, better than many, and that's your balance sheet. But that's going to start to disappear. And there's no getting around it. And do you want to wait till it's gone to address it? That's the point of this. I can't in good conscience sit here and think, you know what, Dan Stutling will probably be retired before this whole thing collapses. And I will be. Okay, it's not next year, it's not the year after that. But if caps stay in place and you don't expand your tax base, and we just sat through a bunch of hearings in here where people don't want to expand the tax base, what's your solution? This isn't short-term planning. It's long-term planning. And you guys are the 5 guys that have been entrusted by the folks in Wells County to solve this puzzle.
Don't put pressure on us.
I'm only here to
No,
give you
I'm
advice.
just messing with you. I know that.
Some of the things you got listed in number 3 there is, and it's something for long term we should definitely look at, interdepartmental cross-training, helping different departments. As people retire, maybe you combine whatever.
And that, to me, that is going to become a necessity.
Right.
But
That's on another question here. We're skipping around, but well, back now we're into staffing. But right, I agree that let's use them generically because it's public needs and people get misconstrued. But your assistant, if and when she retires, well, everybody has an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Clerk of court is kind of a different animal, but between treasurer, recorders, equalization, and auditor, there's some similarities there that I'm thinking we could have in the future. Not saying it, this is long term. You could have some sharing of the second person in charge.
But 2 factors to consider is you can do that. Can you do that without hurting services? And secondly, how much do you save?
Well,
And there's a couple of them offices that half their wages are paid.
Well,
not those 4.
not
No,
Let's stick
okay,
with the
that's
4.
okay.
I'm just using this as an example.
Okay.
Okay. You know, for the camera here, this is all theoretical. We aren't doing this tomorrow. But those 4 positions, okay, if you reduce that to 2, you'd save $100,000 a year.
yeah.
Isn't the biggest spender of Wells County, like Dan said, road and bridge?
It is, but
It is, but you got to find some shortcuts someplace.
You gotta find some, but shortcuts, I mean, trying to find some shortcuts where you guys are trying to find them isn't gonna solve the road and bridge problem.
No,
that's
no.
gonna always,
It's not even gonna be close.
it's gonna always be there.
That's always going to be.
And I'll bet that's the biggest complaints that you guys get is roads and bridges.
Right.
I mean, that, when I was commissioner, that was number one, period.
Right.
People didn't complain necessarily about the person filling the auditor's position or
Oh,
the recorder's position or even the sheriff's position. Well, we went through some of that.
A little bit.
Yeah, well.
Probably don't use that one.
You know what I'm saying. It was roads and bridges. They were always concerned about roads and bridges. Of course, there's always those experts out there too, and I can say that.
Still are a bunch.
Yeah. And,
That ain't
you know,
changed.
That's minor.
But, I mean, that was the biggest complaint. I mean, and I think that's been that way for years and years, you know. I mean, well, what has it been?
And it'll never get any better
24 years or
because
whatever?
all those are getting older and older.
Yeah.
Well, I think people's expectations of services aren't the same. They're higher. They
Oh,
want
yeah.
roads better,
I
cars
bet
go
you
faster,
guys see that all
people
the time.
travel more. It just,
The complaints, the traffic on these roads is 20 times of what it was 20 years ago. You talked about it earlier with the bushels.
And the roads are heavier.
The loads are heavier, the speeds keep going up higher, and the bushels keep going up higher. And
that's a good thing. You don't want the opposite.
Right,
I mean, so
exactly,
it's a good
but
problem
in the
to have.
same aspect, how do you provide the service you were providing 20 years ago now on a road that was built 70 years ago for none of this?
Here's
For none
the
of
part
this.
that's changed. So one day you hear about this guy kind of bragging about hauling 800 loads of corn across this road, but the next week he was complaining because the road was shot.
Yeah.
Whose fault was that?
I took a call down south and he was complaining about a township gravel road. And he says, it's terrible. And I asked him, I said, how many loads of corn are going to go over it the next week? He says, at least 500.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean,
What do you do?
And condition at the time of the year.
Yeah.
When they're going to go whether the road's fit or not.
Right.
They're
I'll wait a
gonna
month
put
till the
bushels
road
on.
improves, then I'll haul.
There you go. That's a big factor. I don't know how the road department continue. Honest to God, I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I don't know how. I don't know how.
But it's very difficult.
The biggest thing in the road department right now, trying to keep up where you want to save some money, we're doing a lot of ag roads, non-winter roads that really don't need to be anymore. The farmers, bigger, more bushels, hauling more, but they're not doing the services like they used to. One pass mowing off the top, not caring whether or not we're moving snow because of weeds not getting cut. Trees in the road ditches blocking and laying banks on. We're spending more time on that. We're burning more fuel and time trying to keep roads open because the services the townships are not doing their part of taking care of the roads the way they're supposed to.
It's getting worse every year.
Yep. Needs-
that's another problem that needs to be identified, but let's move on here. It's just.
Well, we were talking about roads and bridges. To me, now I'm going to sound pessimistic. Here's the scariest thing that could make us go to zero way quicker is we're just blessed and fortunate that the state chips in for roads and bridges.
Oh, wow.
Because if they wouldn't,
We wouldn't even be having this discussion.
what are you going to
grinding
do?
every
Close
piece of
Highway
pavement
1
we have.
if the bridge is not fit?
Yeah.
You'd have to do that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Or pay for it all ourselves?
Well, it wouldn't be possible. It
No,
would be a
I know.
closed road.
So that to me is the, ugh.
Well, this page, to me, is a real telling page. That's your population trends. You know, when did we start a decline?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. It began in 1930. Didn't start in 1980, although it felt like it started in 1980. It started in 1930. And I'm going to guess if you flashed forward to the staffing piece, I'll bet you your staffing was very similar in the 1930s
As to what it is now.
as to what it is today.
I don't know.
I would be willing to bet.
Almost 13,000
Because-
people different from then till now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had more probably in the courthouse then.
No.
No,
Now, I doubt it.
you won't be the same.
You know, maybe in the 30s. I don't, you know, ultimately I wasn't born till 55. But, you know, when I was commissioner, became commissioner, we had 2 in the auditors, okay? I think we may have had 2 in the treasurers, but we only had 1 clerk of court. We had 1 in the recorder's office. The state's attorney didn't have an assistant. Sheriff department, we had 2
Equalization.
for many years. Equalization was 1.
Okay.
So over those years that I was a commissioner, they all begged for, you know, and I don't know what the changes were in that office. If there was more legislative requirements and their reporting, more stuff. So, but they always begged, and we tried sharing once. You know,
Yeah,
with the recorder and the
Equalization.
clerk of court, I think it was.
Oh,
And one needed, or maybe it was the equalization, I don't remember which
I
one.
think we tried.
But then it was just, they fought, I need this person now, I need this person then, and so that was just kind of a big argument. But
In theory,
our staffing was, when I became a commissioner, was down a lot from where it is now, because what are you, in the sheriff's department, where are you at? 1 in sheriff and what, how many deputies?
2.
2?
Usually.
And you've
But
been,
there's
and
vacant
sometimes
positions.
3.
That's a 5-man department when it was 2 just a few years ago. In fact, the argument you're making
Yeah.
is mine on steroids. Okay? It's
Yeah.
gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
Well, I can add on to this. We pay how many tens of thousands of dollars in technology fees for computer systems, which should save efficiency and decrease employment. Right?
That's a good point.
I'm not so sure.
Well, no, it
I'm not
doesn't.
so sure that all of this efficiency with computers hasn't added to your problem.
I
Because
agree.
with the computers, then they want additional reports done here.
More
and there's been a
paperwork.
lot
That
of
was my
crap
question,
put on.
Dan. Are the reports and paperwork to say up compared to what they were 10 years ago?
Oh, absolutely.
So there
Yes.
you are, you know.
Yeah, to pass this on to the state, there are way more state reports and requirements than what there used to be.
And building roads. You know,
Yeah.
back before, I mean, when they built these roads, they just built the roads. You didn't have to mitigate acres for sloughs. You didn't have to do this. You
Right.
didn't have to do that. And, you know, we went through it when you go through FEMA. You know, if you needed rocks, you went and got rocks. But now it's got to be an approved site where you get your rocks. It's got this.
Can't have 2,4-D
Correct.
sprayed on it 25 years ago.
I think that's where a lot of costs of just building roads has
A lot of
been.
that is all added up, yeah.
May I ask a question? You said the
We
sheriff's
kinda
department
got
is
an
up to
open forum going,
yeah
right.
to 5. You said sheriff's department's up to 5. Okay, but don't they have to cover pheasant and police that does not exist now too? You know, see, pheasant used to have a police force too.
Right.
So sheriff's department didn't have to do that.
We do not have a contract. with
Okay,
them.
but I
We
mean
do
they're
it
covering places that used to have
Yeah,
a police
they're doing it
force,
free of charge.
and now they're having to cover all those different communities.
You know.
And it is, you're right, there's more, it's more of a mobile world, there's traffic way more now than it was 10 years ago with bad stuff also. Yeah, there's a lot to cover.
It'd be interesting, now getting off the subject, what % of the sheriff's department time is spent on helping DOT or the highway department? I mean, there's an accident on 52, they'll help out.
Yeah.
Well, that's really not their jurisdiction, but they help out. And they should. But I'm guessing that requirement is way more than what it used to be. Just because of the
More
traffic.
accidents.
Just because of the traffic, right?
There's a lot of unforeseen things. Serving papers, for instance, that's a big thing, and that's happening every year.
More and more.
In fact, I've seen them in Harvey like 4 times last week at different neighborhoods serving papers. So anyway, Anything else on that one? Move on.
Where you at?
Probably staffing.
Well, we're in the staffing area.
Wells County staffing.
I guess I'll just bring up my point to like question two. Like I agree with Brent a lot on the road department and on the right track. There's definitely going to have to be some changes probably in there, and even though a lot of people don't want to hear there's going to be maybe less blades and less blading going on in the county, it's probably the reality that is coming forth. So I don't know. So I think Brent, yeah, you're got the right idea about things.
And it's
coming up
not-
there.
It's not what any of us want.
Yeah.
Well, I think Tim brought up a good point. Some of these minimum maintenance roads don't need to be the main concerns. We need to.
There's 500 miles of what I refer to as ag roads that don't get touched 6 months out of the year. And in my mind, that's gonna have to be the first 500 miles that go.
The sad part is, and those are the ones that you never hear about until they take some machinery across them to go harvest whatever, and then they complain about that road.
And
That's just a machinery road, basically.
if you talk to the blade operators when they're working these secondary roads or ag roads, a lot of times when they're blading them, the road itself is in pretty dang good shape because it doesn't have the traffic on it.
But there's not much traffic on it.
What they're doing is the famous thing that we say all the time. They're driving a $500,000 lawnmower down the sides to keep the vegetation down.
Mm-hmm.
If that road was fairly smooth and you could drive down it at 45, 50 miles an hour. But the problem is the grass is growing in. You get in the center stripe down the road, it's starting to look like a prairie trail. And if they skip it one time, now they got a real mess. Because then they blade it, and then my phone's ringing because there's too big a windrow and there's clumps on the side of the road.
I know
That's why we need my band sprayer.
Exactly. We always talk about this, but some of those ag roads
We
need to be
tried.
sprayed.
We spoke to all 36 townships, or 35 of the 36 that were represented, and
Yeah.
and talked to them about spraying, and it's just not.
Well, you'd have to specifically get something.
Is this something where the townships could get chemical from the weed board to do that?
It ain't about
I
chemicals.
don't think
Chemicals
so, right?
cheap. It's they all didn't want to do it because of the drift, because of the risk, and you've heard me talk about this.
I know.
You
It's
need a
just that
2-foot band sprayer that's hooded, and you spray 2 feet on the edge of the road.
And I think it's just someone
It's
to
$2
actually
an acre.
get out and do
I know.
You know,
Having somebody do it though.
Yeah.
but you'd
That's
have
the
to have
big-
somebody do it, and there's kind of a narrow window to do it. It'd either be early in the spring, because once the grass is real tall, well, it's a band sprayer. You can't.
Trouble is,
End
it's
of
up
May,
to each
early June, you
township
better
to
get
have
on it.
Somebody do that. You know?
You almost have to do one, I mean, in time, you'd have to do the center of the road too,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
You'd have to do the center of the road
The
too.
ones that don't get used.
What are you looking to spray on the top of the road?
Well, you're just trying to
You're
keep
gonna
that
do-
grass
no,
stripe
no,
out of the
edge.
center.
I know, but it's gonna be on the top. If you want to eliminate grading, you're gonna keep the vegetation down. You're not gonna spray 2,4-D or Banville or something that's gonna be drifting. You're spraying Roundup or
Roundup,
sterilizer.
Roundup, right?
And that isn't a big problem with drifting, is it?
Yeah. I mean, you don't want it to drift into the ditch. That was the big gripe with commissioners or township supervisors. It drifts in the ditch, and you got wormwood growing.
Well,
You know, whereas a band, if you specifically,
I don't know what the issue on that is. As an operator going around on these roads, I see this all the time. The farmers make up, and the ditch is all dead. They killed the ditch, but they complained about, and now they're going to worry about a little bit off the top of the road that might get die. I see a lot of ditches that they killed up and turned down.
well, I agree.
There's some that hay the ditches too, though, and you don't want to be killing that. It's got to be applied correctly.
It does.
But it's not
Leon was
hard
going to
put a
build me
hood spray
one. So and so was going to build me one. David Free's going to build me one. No one has yet.
I don't mean to just make it about the road department, but it is the biggest issue in the county.
I think you have the right thoughts, though. It's what a guy can do there to cut the costs, and it's going to be hard to get people to understand.
If there was six ways to fix what's going, what Dan's talking about, and you fix 5 and don't fix the road department. I mean, when I say fix, you know what I mean. Okay.
Adjust. That's where the big cost is. Right.
Fixing 5 out of the 6 is not going to solve the problem. I think
the biggest
problem expenditure in the county is the road department, and if we can work something there and improve there, it will benefit more for the other departments. But nobody's going to want to hear the reality and the hard truth.
To shut them 500 miles of road off. I mean, well, you got to start with something.
Yeah.
I don't know what else there is to start with.
We're fortunate and unfortunate for how many roads we have in Wells County.
Yeah.
Especially the highways.
Yeah.
That's what costs money. I mean,
I can go back to comparing Pierce County.
Yeah,
it's the highways. It's the elephant in the room.
You're looking at $1 million a mile to do the proper fix on a mile of pavement.
Another cost sharing we talked about is in the wintertime, some of the roads they do like 5-6 miles just because the mailman doesn't want to go 2 miles around. There's things like that could be. In fact, we discussed this. Like in a lot of neighborhoods, you have a bunch of mailboxes in one spot. Mm-hmm. They ought to be going to that in the country.
Have you ever? I think this is way back. Doc and I talked this on the way down when Mal was here. Do you ever talk to a postmaster in Pheasant or Harvey and say, hey, can you go an extra mile around to get to this because we're going to close this road off?
It didn't go well. Mel tried with Harvey.
Well, I remember Mel having a conversation way back, but so you don't.
I haven't in my 6 years here.
There's probably 3 different postmasters there by now, so
right. But I mean,
you'd have to have specific situations. Okay,
it depends on the drivers.
These 2 roads off. You're going to have to go 2 miles around.
Ultimately, I think Dennis and I talked about this Tuesday too. As far as I don't understand why rural doesn't go to these I call mailbox banks where they're not even driving on the gravel anymore. I mean, if you live in Harvey or in Pheasant and you got to drive up to the post office to get your mail. And in the rural area, if you have to drive 2 or 3 miles to get to your mailbox, I just don't see the issue with that because odds are you drove by it 3 times for coffee in the morning, breakfast, and then coffee in the afternoon. I just think if you can, you start eliminating. There's guys, Bucky will attest to this too. He's been with the county longer than I have. Where we're opening up roads where we're a 6-mile cut across that nobody lives on because that was the mail route. And those are the first roads in a bad winter that we just go to the mailman and say, I'm sorry, but you ain't coming down this road because it's taken me 3 hours to open this 6 miles so you can cut across. And a lot of that depends on your mail carrier. I was very fortunate in Pheasant where our mail carrier, if he couldn't get across, he didn't get mad at me. He says, I'll just find another way around. But that's not the case with all mail carriers.
Well, school bus routes are kind of a similar deal, although some of those roads that, even if you open up for them, if you're a bus driver, you probably don't want to drive down them in a bad weather anyway, because they're going to be the first ones to block.
Yep.
I've spent a lot of time out west, and they got it out there where they got all their mailboxes on the corner, and they even got the UPS or FedEx drop-off box.
Oh, really?
And everybody has to come there to get it.
And the school buses pick up the kids there.
Yeah.
Right. You go out east to Walker Skiddy. What's the one? Johnson Corner. Just like that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're not going to drive 25 miles for one.
I'd love to see that. But I don't, Dennis and I talk, I don't even know, I mean, mail is a federal thing. Where do you go with that? I mean, you can go to your local postmaster, but obviously I don't think your local postmaster has any say in whether they're gonna go to mailbox banks in Wells County. I don't know.
Start there.
No, but
You
they
start
have,
there.
I think they'd have some say as to the direction of their routes. They
Yeah,
might have that.
But even those mail bank boxes, that would save them money.
it would, oh,
Instead of their mail carriers driving all over the country.
Do mail carriers, now we're getting off the subject, but it would have an effect on this conversation. Do mail carriers still get paid by the mile? They
get
used to.
yeah, I do believe they do. They get a mileage check. I don't know. I think they get an hourly wage and then they get a mileage check.
It's all just bid out on contracts.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah.
That's true. The rural ones would get out,
No, some are bid out, some are not.
Right,
No,
I was just
no,
gonna
our
say that.
mail, the three people in Harvey are not bid out, they're salaried. But their star routes, the Hertzfield route is a bid out.
Bowden's are bid out.
Bowden is bid out.
Well, the ones that go out in the country are all bid out, aren't they?
No, Jason Powell gets a
Really?
salary.
But some of them, like people from out of state, will bid them and get the bid, and then they'll just hire somebody here and pay them
Right.
salary.
Really?
Right,
A lot of them are actually bid out of state.
right.
Just people will have 50 contracts for mail routes.
It just,
It'd be good to check into that because those people would be more receptive. They're getting paid by the mile. Yeah, it takes a little extra time, but it wouldn't bother them to drive a few extra miles in the winter if a road is shut down or closed.
well, yes and no, because if their route is normally 100 miles, that's what they bid out is 100 miles. They're not going to want to drive 120 because then it's coming out of their pocket.
You have to check into those details.
I mean, there are lots of options. And I know we're off subject, but if we're trying to come up with ideas to fix, and I don't like calling the road department the biggest problem, but any way we look at it, it's the biggest
It is.
expenditure. Okay, so we're talking about the biggest expenditure and the biggest problem. I mean, just trying to throw solutions out there as to what maybe other people can also help us do to try to cut costs.
Well, here, we're working on the question of staffing questions. And that could fit into the road department too. As we get people that may be retired, do we want to eliminate blades and increase routes, but cut out some of these miles? I mean, that's another thing to think about.
I think that's the reality of it, because are we going to be able to find people to replace all the blade guys?
I mean, let's just take, for instance, we eliminate two $400,000 blades and salaries. That's a pretty good chunk there.
That's way more than two office positions in the auditors and equalization office.
Big time more.
You're right. And those are two options.
You're
Both
gonna
places.
you're gonna lose, there's 1,347 miles is the confirmed mileage or in township gravel roads in Wells County. Realistically, 500 of those, give or take, are gonna come off the board. So you're gonna lose $50,000 there. Because you're not gonna be charging them $100 a mile because we're no longer touching them. That's the one loss. But eliminating two blade guys and going to 6 and running roughly 900 miles is 150 miles of blade. And right now we're running about 180 for 8 blades. So you could almost get to 5. You really could get to 5. 5 times 180 is 900. Isn't it? My head math? I think so.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't do that overnight. You could
No,
go from
But
8 to
it's
7,
the
7.
situation where 6 of your 8 blade guys are 62 or older. And as these guys start to retire, and then the other thing Dennis and I talked about too is that you're not going to get an experienced operator to apply for a job at any county, especially in these rural counties, okay? Every one of our blade guys, Bucky included, had no blading experience before they started running the blade. They learned on the job. And if you don't hire right, if you don't hit on that hire, You could be wasting 8, 10, 12 months training a guy and he leaves. And we've already had that happen several times now in the last 5 years. Okay? So you're wasting a year. You're just wasting a year and now you're trying to find another guy.
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
There's
you're
no
gonna
guarantee.
Get anybody.
So
to-
there's a lot of downside to this too, though. So you go down that many blades, and how many times do you hear, hey, haven't seen a blade all summer? What are you gonna hear now?
If you went to 6, what you're gonna see is these guys focusing on these main roads.
Main roads, they'd have to do that.
Yep. And it wouldn't increase their miles. It's just that they're always on the main road. You're still going to cover 80 miles a week, or not quite, depending on what the conditions are. But they're gonna still blade every day and this and that. And then you have the opportunity to also get rid of 2 shops.
Well, these are all options.
And just so this isn't something we're discussing doing, we're just throwing options out.
That's right.
Because
that's what I'm saying.
next-
It's a public meeting, but
Yeah, next week I'll hear, so you guys are cutting down to 6 and
yeah,
cutting
you're
down
right.
8?
No, that's not the case.
Yeah.
All of this is theoretical.
You got anything to add to number 1 there, what you've already got down, Dan?
Well, I guess we'll probably talk about the 4 accounts that we're talking about right now. So let's start with 911.
Okay.
Okay. In December of 21, 911 had a balance of almost $72,000. In December of 22, it was down to $50,000. In December of 23, it was at $18,000. Last year it was negative $791, and this year it's negative $32,826. Right now, taxpayers or anybody that has a landline or a cell phone pays $2 a month. You'll see that on your bill. Okay. State radio takes $1.59 of that, leaving 41 cents. Another 3% goes to the telcos, telephone companies. Another 5% goes to NDACO for managing that, so that's another 8% off the top, which is give or take about 18 cents. So that 159 is now $1.77. 50 cents goes to the Siren project. That's $2.27.
The what project?
Siren State Radio. Okay. So already you have a deficit before you pay your bills and you get your income back, and you're already in the hole. Okay. Is that going to get more or less? What do you think?
And the $2 is capped.
The $2 is what it is. That's set by the state. The legislature sets that.
What the heck is wrong with that?
Tell me about it. It doesn't make any sense, but you have to have it. Okay.
Well, right, but
So-
it shouldn't be capped.
And I can read stories here from Adams County, McIntosh County, Bowman County, McKenzie County, Lemoore County, Divide County, Hettinger County, Burke, Dickey, Sheridan. They're all
Well, they're all in the same boat, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
There's nothing different. There's no,
all right.
in
So
this case.
we did that extension. Okay. When I started, $14,931 in the hole. December of 22, $24,977 in the hole. December 23, $46,818 in the hole. December 24, $56,000 in the hole. And this year's $63,817 in the
Now
hole.
we're consistently going down.
Okay, now, they were here with district health, okay, up to 150,000. We know that it's gonna be 6 figures, it may not be the 150, but just venture a guess. You think it'll be more or less in 2027? In 2028? In 2029? Okay, all right, she told you that their health insurance increase was 15%. Okay, 3% ain't gonna cut it. Okay, it will entirely be consumed by that benefit. Road department was at negative 460 when I took the auditor's job. It's currently negative 709,000. However, it was We put a infusion of capital resources from the general fund into the road department in February of 2023 in $1.605 million. That got it back to zero. And today, it's negative 709,000. Now, a year ago, this is the good news on this, because you did something a year ago. Okay? A year ago at this time, it was negative $956,531. So it has improved $246,792 in the last 12 months. That's good news. 140 grand of that, though, came from the townships. That means that Wells County has improved itself by about 100 grand, give or take. Didn't buy blades, certainly didn't buy 2 of them, okay? And we've been missing a couple of employees. You'll hire somebody and you go right back where you were 12 months ago, even with the $140,000 infused by the townships.
Another thing you're not talking about is we just come off 2 open winters.
Yep, no doubt about it.
Good point.
Right.
So that being said, we're going up the ladder, we're improving, but it's not substantial,
No.
and it could be turned around. You could do a 180 on that by a single decision. This is my point, and you probably think I'm a one, string guitar here and only play a single note, but I'm seeing something here that I'm not sure everybody else is seeing. And there is no path forward doing business as is. There's no path forward. I don't see it, and I'd rather not be around and get blamed for it at the end of the day.
The number one glaring thing to me is, and I'll get beat up for it, we're on camera, and this is hypothetical again. We gotta increase fees to townships. Why in God's name are we charging them $100 a mile, when all the rest of the townships are $250, $300, $350, $400 a mile? We're just being nice guys, and the city of Bowden and Pheasant and Harvey are subsidizing that. That's one thing we could do.
But, and when we sat with them, 18 months ago, I wouldn't have ever thought at that time it was right to put it all on them. So we were going to share in the pain. Right? And that was the message that we sent to them, is we were going to share in the pain. And everybody is going to share in the pain. Maybe you say, yep, we're going to put it on the ballot. We need to increase our road fund. You're going to put it on the ballot and let the people decide. Maybe that's something that comes out of this.
Yeah.
Because 14 mills ain't going to get it done. 14 mills does not even pay their salaries and benefits, not even close, let alone equipment, capital expenses, road materials, etc. You can't even pay their wages with the 14 mills.
No. And that, yeah.
Can it get on the ballot in 26 yet?
Certainly.
Here's the other thing that we could do, or we'll give Dan a homework assignment. I'm sure the vast majority of non-oil producing counties of our size has the exact same problem. They do. I mean, Sheridan County, they do. What are they doing? Wouldn't it be interesting to kind of know if anybody is coming up with anything creative to try to...
Have these issues been discussed at the 6 county meetings?
Oh, we talk about them, but it's...
No one really comes up with solutions. Yeah, it's a real problem, but...
Problems always come up with the solution part is.
Foster County raised their road mills up last year, wasn't it? Or
By the vote?
Yeah. And they went up to, 25? I think.
Really?
I was going to say, if you're going to put it in the ballot, just my opinion, and it counts for less than a penny, I would put it on the ballot to come up 10. It doesn't pay to put it in the ballot to come up 4. You're talking about $200,000.
No, right, you'd want to do this.
10 mills.
You go up 10 mills from 14 to 24.
there have been counties that have been successful at doing that.
Oh, yeah, right.
And the other thing too, and Wells, again, and I know you mentioned it, Stan, that Wells County was one of the only counties, or it was the only county that never charged the townships. So I think, other counties are keeping up their road fund because they are charging townships.
They have been for so long.
Then the other aspect of this too, when you divide the state in half, you go to the western part, and I'm not talking about the oil counties, most of those townships are unorganized.
Correct.
So the county runs, and the county can, if they've got their road fund, they're charging everybody in the county basically for that. Every road gets treated the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you've got townships here, and I'm not trying to say, local control is always good, okay? But I mean, there is some enviness with some counties where they have unorganized townships. Does it cost them in some other areas? Yeah, because they pay they're either their county commissioners more because they're supervising those roads, or they're
I've heard threats
or
already.
like that, or something like that. But it is kind of a balance, because I know we've got townships out here that are at 3 mills, and we've got some townships out here that are maxed out every year at 18 mills, or maybe have taken a vote to increase even above 18 mills. I know Foster County, there's a number of townships over there because of having to pay for their roads and stuff. Every year they've got a vote, to go above their 18 mills or something like that to
So,
be able
when we,
so that's just part of it.
right. What do we have, about 3 townships that are reluctant to pay?
We're left with one, still hasn't.
With one.
They
But-
say they're going to, but you know what, at some point you gotta write the check and put it in the mail, or
Yeah.
drop it off, or,
There's a lot of guys I've talked to said, you guys just flat didn't charge enough.
Well, to make it more palatable, is when it was just mills, you'll hear townships say, we're broke, we can't do. Townships have gotten a lot of state money since COVID, okay, from the prairie dog and that. And how do they determine that dollar amount? Well, it's by your costs and by your road miles. What are your costs? They're giving this to the township. Well, it's culverts, right? Gravel, right? And blading, right? We'll give you this much money for those 3 things. Wells County takes this money, the townships,
And they've only got 2 of them.
and they keep it. The road blading costs, that part of that should go to the county because the county's providing that. And most other county townships, they do because they're charging $250 or
And
$300.
don't you think that's one of the reasons we got in the position we're in?
Yeah.
Well, because we provided free blading for 40, 50 years.
so
And
it's,
we bought the
it's no
equipment.
different when you ask them to, we're gonna go forward with paid blading. You could put a measure on the ballot, okay, it's 14 mills right now, let's just say, for argument's sake, that we're gonna double it. We're gonna make it 28 mills, and the public's gonna vote on this. You tell me what their response is gonna be without some concession from county government as to what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do to address it on your end? I'll almost guarantee you know why the township officers bought what you were selling? Because you promised to do something on your end. And if you want to go to the people, by all means, we should go to the people, but you're going to lose unless you can show them or demonstrate to them
Right.
what you're going to do on your end.
But I don't know, did we promise anything different than what we were doing?
We weren't going to promise anything different, but
No.
we were going to have to make some cuts and
Well,
manage, and we've done that to the tune of 6 figures so far.
And some townships did expect more blading,
Oh, yeah.
more stuff.
well, they did.
And
That's a couple of them that are.
And we said, no, That ain't the case.
The,
We're just gonna maintain what we've been doing.
I'm in favor of whatever we have to do, but if you are at 100 and you go to 400, I promise you, you thought your phone rang a lot in the last year?
I would never.
Or even go to 200? Because we're paying for blade now. We haven't seen a blade in 3 weeks. Well, now you're going to ask them to pay a little bit more. And I'm not against this, by the way. But you thought those phone calls were a lot to you and to me in the last year? Expect double of that. Expect double that. Because they expect these roads to be bladed literally every time they want it bladed.
That's why this is a brainstorming session and not, I'll make a motion.
Right. And so you go to the people and ask for, I don't care if it's 20, 25, 20, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. If that's not married to, you gotta do your part, the townships, you gotta do a little bit more, then I don't know what is. Because if you only go to the people, I'm paying for the roads in Sykeston Township already.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never been on one of them, but I'm paying for it right now.
Right.
So if you only go to the people, that's not a solution either. There's
No, it
got to
isn't.
be multiple moving parts here.
And here's the thing, and not to sound arrogant, but now you have to convince the people that live in the city of Harvey why you're increasing for rural roads in North Dakota, because that is your tax base. That's not your tax base.
That's your population. That's
voting
40%
public.
of the public.
So you gotta get that.
Why am I fixing that country road?
I don't know.
But if you're a business, you need those people to shop in your store
There's
too.
an argument both ways.
Is
If
this-
you got kids, you need them to get to school too.
Does this make any sense at all? If you guys put it on the ballot and it fails, doesn't that make it easier to cut back miles in 2 years because you could say, listen, we tried.
I think so.
You see where I'm going with it?
It's an alternative.
Yeah, it's an option.
It gives you the option. It's like, listen, we're trying to figure out what we can do, and you guys didn't pass anything, so we're going to cut from 1,400
Well, and
to 900.
we'd have to say that that's reality. That's not, we're not punishing you.
No,
It's
it's just the reality is that we can't do this anymore.
But
We gotta move along here.
Yeah, well, we got to be done in 2 minutes, so.
So this conversation will continue.
Next one.
Everybody, I dinked around with mine, I got together with Brent, and everybody look these things over and start brainstorming, that's all we can do. Okay? What else we gotta wrap up here? You know what? Is it too late to register for that December 9th?
Well, you have to register if you're going.
I'm thinking it's gonna work out if I do it going.
He's talking about the Commissioner Summit next week in Bismarck.
Just Tuesday.
The only thing they have on Monday is a social.
That's
And
it.
that is a
That makes-
wonderful economic development tool for Bismarck to get you to spend money in Bismarck.
It makes no sense to go to
let's
that.
stay overnight. Yeah, that's not a food.
Well, I wanna go to that thing on Tuesday.
Okay, yeah. He can get us registered.
Ice is going to be thick enough by then.
Anything else?
Stan, you-
I'm gone then, but I was on a very icy, rough road when you text where I couldn't go on Thursday. That wasn't the case. I told you before that I couldn't go to this, the Lincoln thing.
But you can go to the 6 county meeting.
Well, it's too late now, apparently.
No, it's not. No.
Who's going to Sixth County? I know Dennis is going.
Stan can go. Can you go?
I haven't,
You gotta decide now.
I won't go.
Okay, so it's just the three of us that are going.
Stan, Brian, you can't go?
I've got too much work. So
It's, well, it's just us three from Harvey, we can meet there.
All right, and then all the other stuff is just FYI. You got Summit on Tuesday, you got social on Wednesday, 2 o'clock at the Festival Hall, Emmons County, 6 County meeting on Thursday at And then our next meeting will be Tuesday, the 6th of January at 8 a.m.
Is this too late to, yeah, being it's on the agenda, I can bring it up, staff, for Christmas social. Do we want to give the employees anything? Is that too late? We should have thought of that last month.
You gave them the day off on the 26th, that was pretty nice.
Did you guys get the deal about bringing something?
Yes.
Did you get that to work? I didn't, so I just called it. It was a document that.
Oh, I didn't get that. I didn't try it. Yeah, you got an email.
From Connie.
Connie Lone is in charge of the
Okay,
Christmas
okay.
party.
You were supposed to, if you wanted to bring something.
I just got everything changed over to a different iPad next year. I ain't used to it yet.
Dan, anything else?
No.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Brian, motion to adjourn, second? Second, Boone, motion to adjourn.
Okay, two of you that have 11:30s, get back there right now.
Who's that?
I don't know.